Just hear me out. The Bucks are down bad to the Pacers right now, about to be a first-round exit, and rumors have it that Giannis could request a trade this offseason. But the question is to who, right? Well, could the Sixers end up as a potential dark horse team to land Giannis in a trade? Today we're going to break it down, and I'm going to tell you why I do not think it is as crazy as it may seem. So we will get into all of it, but welcome in to Philly Take with RB. I'm RB. Do me a favor, like this video, go down below, subscribe to the channel. We keep you up to date every single day. Unfortunately, no Sixers in the playoffs this year. Maybe they can return to action next year, but for now, we're watching the playoffs, and there's been a lot of really good series, a lot of good games, but one team that is actually down bad right now is the Milwaukee Bucks, and you see it right here. Bucks star Damian Lillard has been diagnosed with a torn left Achilles tendon. MRI today revealed the severity. So not only is he out for the playoffs, he's probably going to miss next year. Giannis is probably frustrated. Kyle Kuzma has done nothing for the Bucks since being acquired at the deadline. They're getting older, slower, and ever since they won that championship a couple years ago, they've gone downhill. But hey, that's just the regular cycle, right? You win, you contend for some years, and then you get bad, and then you turn it around. But like if you're the Sixers, maybe, you stay for 8 years in the same spot. But anyway, the Milwaukee Bucks are in a very interesting situation. Doc Rivers may be fired. That means the Bucks would have to pay their fourth coach simultaneously. Things are getting interesting in Milwaukee. And Keith Smith put this on Twitter yesterday. He says the Bucks could now have the cover to trade Giannis after the Dame injury. He says John Horst is locked in long-term to lead the rebuild. Giannis gets to go compete for a title, and Bucks get a haul. Dame rehabs for the year, and then you figure it out. It sucks that we're here, but we are here. And then on top of that, somebody sent me this on Twitter. Somebody swapped Maxey into a Bucks jersey, and I'll be honest, it kind of skeeves me out. It just doesn't look right. I can't see Maxey in a Milwaukee jersey. However, could it actually be a realistic possibility? Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go right down to the comments right now and let me know what you would give up to get Giannis on the Sixers. Would you clear house? Would you give anything it took to get Giannis Antetokounmpo on the Sixers next season? Give me your thoughts down below. I'm going to give you my thoughts real quick. I got to let you know this is brought to us by BetUS TV. Go check out all their socials, their platforms, their sites. They will keep you up to date on all the daily news coverage, content, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So shout out to BetUS TV. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about this situation, but first I want to look at a couple blurbs in this article put up on CBS Sports. All right, here's number one, and it's what Giannis said back in 2023, right before I believe he had signed an extension. But this is what he said, quote, "Winning a championship comes first. I don't want to be 20 years on the same team and don't win another championship." By then, he had maneuvered to get his preferred head coaching candidate, Adrian Griffin, who, by the way, got fired through half a season last year. Then they hired Doc Rivers. The Bucks followed the hire up with a blockbuster trade acquisition of Damian Lillard, and obviously that has been a major disappointment. Now, I want to move down just a little bit here and read another blurb. That's where the Bucks are now. They're old. They're capped out. They're devoid of tradable assets. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. At best, they can kick the can down the road, maybe offer their 2031 first rounder and swap rights on their 2032 pick alongside Kuzma and another contract to bring in a perimeter defender or a third scorer. If they're really aggressive, maybe they could try to flip Lillard's contract for one that's more detrimental in the long term, but at least attached to a potentially healthy player for next season. Paul George, anyone? Would Bradley Beal waive his no-trade clause for Milwaukee? These aren't exactly appealing options. And then lastly, I want to read this down here as they propose a couple teams that come to mind. The Brooklyn Nets have been one for a while. The Rockets, the Suns, the Mavs. Well, I'm going to tell you another one, and that is the Philadelphia 76ers. And here is why I could potentially see this. First and foremost, let's think about it from a common sense standpoint as it relates to the Sixers. Daryl Morey loves superstars. Daryl Morey loves superstars that are in their primes or maybe even a little bit ahead, 32, 33, 34. Well, in this case, Giannis is going to be 31 next year. Giannis made $48 million this year, $54 next year, 58.4 the next year, and a 62.7 player option in 2027. That sounds right up the alleyway of a Daryl Morey contract. We look at the other players on this team, right? Damian Lillard has 1 more year left and a player option. Kyle Kuzma has 3 years left. That is brutal, even though it's not as bad as it maybe had once seemed financially. Brook Lopez is about to leave in free agency. Bobby Portis has a player option. Connaughton, KPJ have player options. So pretty much the Bucks don't have many guarantees past this season. They're older, they're slower. Their championship window is over. They had a couple good chances. Giannis got hurt in the first round, and they've just had a bunch of bad luck as well. And of course, Doc Rivers, manning the team over there. But anyway, as it was saying in that article, the Bucks do not have control of any draft picks until 2031. They're like the Phoenix Suns. They are in purgatory. But what do the 76ers have? Well, obviously they have 2 stars at the top who got to hope they can actually play games. But they have Tyrese Maxey. They have Jared McCain coming back from a meniscus tear. And I'm not sitting here saying it's all sunshine and rainbows for the Sixers. I mean, they're in a bad spot too. But if you are the 76ers and they said they're running it back, and if you want to bank in some hope that, hey, maybe we can, reinvigorate the fan base and get everybody juiced back up, well, they would go and try to make a play for a superstar. I've already talked about Kevin Durant. I've talked about Zion. Well, what about Giannis? Ladies and gentlemen, would I give up a bunch of assets to get Giannis Antetokounmpo? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. And it might be uncomfortable, but let's say the Milwaukee Bucks came to the Sixers and said, hey, we'll take Tyrese Maxey and we'll take 2 to 3 first-round picks and maybe a role player. Would you do that? I mean, obviously, it would suck. It would hurt to get rid of Tyrese Maxey. It would hurt to maybe get rid of Jared McCain. But we're talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, a guy that can average 30, 10, and 8, a guy that can put up 40 on any given night. He's had his shooting troubles, but as much as I have disliked Giannis in the past, he's an absolute NBA superstar. All you have to worry about is the durability issues. And yes, the Sixers are the bad luck. They're the curse when it comes to injuries. But you know what? Am I willing to take that risk? Would I take a risk on Giannis over, I don't know, the next couple years of Paul George and Joel Embiid and hoping and praying they can even start the season healthy? Yeah, I think I would. I think I would, because Giannis is an all-world talent. And when we look at the 76ers, and I know it gets a little bit confusing looking at this stuff because of the picks and the protections, here's what you pretty much have to know right now. The Sixers could keep their first-round pick this year, but let's just go off what we know right now. As of right now, the Sixers' 2025 first-round draft pick has been traded to OKC, right? So if OKC gets the pick this year, the 76ers will have a first-rounder in 2026. They will not have a 2027 first-rounder unless it finishes in the top 8, because they have traded that pick already to Brooklyn in the James Harden trade. But if it's top 8 protected, they could keep that. Then in 2028, let's just say that they give the pick to the Nets in 2027. Sixers will have 2 first-round picks, their own and an unprotected, which could be really valuable depending on what happens with the Clippers in a couple years. Then in 2029, they have a pick swap with the Clippers. 2030 and 2031, they have first-rounders. So pretty much what? They have 5 firsts and a pick swap on their hands, and they have a couple young gems in Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. Look, I wouldn't want to do it, but if this could be a way to also get off the Paul George contract, even if you have to give up a young cornerstone and some first-round picks, would the Sixers do it? Probably. Would I be a little hesitant? Yes, but what if? What if you could have, I don't know, Jared McCain, Joel Embiid actually comes back and plays, and you have Giannis Antetokounmpo? I mean, you always have a chance with Giannis. Now, preferably, I would like to go the retool route and start to build for the next couple years, because then you look at 2028. I mean, that could be a gold mine right there, especially if the Sixers get their pick this year. What about that scenario? What if the Sixers get their first round pick this year and it's a top 3 pick? Would you trade that pick in a deal to go get Giannis? I know a lot of people would say no, but maybe that could be the thing to set the Bucks over the edge, especially if they want to go full rebuild. So I know some of these other teams like the Rockets are going to have young guys to give up and this and that. But the Sixers actually have a pretty good draft haul that they could throw into a deal. They have a couple really good young guards, and they could end up with a top 6 pick this year. So I don't think it is as crazy as people may appear it out to be that the Sixers could be a dark horse to go get Giannis. Now, at the end of the day, will Giannis even leave the Bucks? I don't know, but I'm feeling like we're heading towards it just based off that Giannis quote where he said he doesn't want to be on a losing team. And you know what? I respect that. I respect that competitor because he's not just going to sit there and lose for the next 10 years. He won a chip. He got his big bucks, but he actually wants to win. He's not like a lot of these other superstars. So I respect that. But at the end of the day, guess we'll just have to wait and see. And things could get very interesting this offseason. Ladies and gentlemen, would you give up anything it took to get Giannis on the Sixers? Would you give up the first round pick this year? Give me all your thoughts down below in the comments section. Sucks for Damian Lillard, but his career might be over. Bucks are going downhill. This could be a time to take an advantage. We'll see what happens, man. Give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.